Hey guys, welcome to the John and Jordy show. This is episode 12. Today we had MMA fighter David Martinez on, aka the Smiling Assassin. Yeah, like and subscribe. You bastards.
Dave Martinez in with us today. Nice to have you, Dave boy.
Oh, bro, thanks for having me on. I've been a big fan of this podcast since you started, and I missed out on I tried to make a joke. Oh, it was going to take ages for the second episode to come out. It already came out before I uploaded, and I'm like, well, it shows how much I'm paying attention here.
You even made some fan art for us.
Yeah. No, if I find the time and I get the I have fun with that.
What fan art?
He did some photoshops like Axel kind of does.
Oh, yeah.
The tobogganing one.
Yeah.
I love those. keep them coming, eh?
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about yourself, and Dave. Tell people that don't know you who you are, what you do.
Oh yeah, I guess you can say I'm professional mixed martial artist. Yeah, I've been fighting for about I want to say 12 years now. But outside of that, I was just some homeless guy from the desert in the Northern Territory.
How old were you when you started?
I was just turned 18. No. I just turned 18, but I hadn't trained at that point. I didn't really start training until I was about 2 months shy of 19.
Right. And why MMA? Were you kind of guy that was fighting growing up and stuff, or was it? Do you get into fights in school and shit, or was it? Do you just go, fuck, I fancy doing this?
I mean, do you get that impression of me that no. I don't know why, man, but I watched this movie, Never Back Down. Don't watch the sequels, by the way; they suck. But I watched that. And I'm like, oh, this looks cool. I mean, I wouldn't mind getting into that. But at the time, I was still out in the middle of nowhere in the territory, and there's no gym, there was no fights or anything. So I just it was kind of just an interest until I moved over to Queensland, and I actually went and booked myself a fight in Brisbane with no training because I'm
no training at all.
Yeah. I was still pretty new to the internet type thing because out there, when you think about how backwards things were back in the day, it was even worse out in the middle of nowhere. Yeah, but I've somehow managed to find a way to nominate for a fight show, got on there, got absolutely destroyed, but then I just had this feeling of this is what I'm meant to do. I can't. To feel so happy in losing a fight, it was pretty weird looking back on it. But at the time, I was like, I didn't know any better. So eventually found a gym, started training, and the rest has been history since.
When you're saying out in the desert, I thought you were from Bundaberg.
No, my dad is from Bundaberg, but he went out into the Northern Territory to get a teaching job, and so he's lived in different communities teaching out there, and I was born out there. So I was actually in the Northern Territory for the first 17 years of my life.
Right.
Then we moved back to Queensland to Bundaberg around then, and I was there for maybe 7-8 years before moving down here to the Sunshine Coast.
Was it real isolated where you were growing up?
Yes, yeah. There was the first place I was in was I think it had a population of about 100 to 200 people, man.
Wild.
Yeah.
That's crazy, yeah.
Yeah, and then I was living at Ayers Rock Resort, which all you've got is the employees and their families.
That's proper isolated.
Yeah. I didn't, for the first maybe 10 years of my life, I didn't even have any friends outside of my family.
Right.
Yeah.
For the first 10 years?
Yeah.
School and stuff, or was there many people in school?
No, I was taught through distance education.
Right. How does that work? Just like parents teaching you?
My parents serve as the in-class teacher type thing, but it's you get signed up with the school, and they just send you textbooks and all that stuff. You do all the exercises, work through the books, you fill in the tests at the end, and then you send them off. They correct them, and you just go along like that.
And did you have brothers and sisters you got, yeah?
Yes, yeah. I have 2 sisters, one older, and one younger, and I've got a younger brother as well.
Right. Are you guys close, or were you like were they all growing up in the same place, or were you separated, or was
Yeah, so there's a bit of a separation between my older sister and I because there's quite an age gap. By the time I was old enough to freaking walk and talk and everything and comprehend life, she'd already moved away by then. So there's a little bit of a separation there, but we still get along great. Whereas I'm very, very close to my younger siblings because, for the first 10 years, we had it for each other.
Yeah, that's mad, eh?
So you started training in Bundy, was it?
Yes.
What was that gym called? Still around?
It's still around, man, but like there's always been a bit of the whole thing with the name of it. I just refer to it as Bundy MMA type thing, but I believe it's like Peter DeBin Jiu-Jitsu and Mixed Martial Arts Bundaberg or something like yeah.
Peter DeBin?
Peter DeBin, yeah.
Is that the guy that's running it, I'm assuming?
Yeah. So it was run under him, but I think Peter is actually in Melbourne or Melbourne based.
Yeah, it's like an affiliation type thing.
Yeah.
I think he was there's a bit of controversy, but he was the first Australian black belt. So it's like between him and John Will, I think they like argue about who was the first, and they kind of like, but they're in I think it was the Dirty Dozen, like the first 12. I could be wrong actually, but the first 12 like gringo kind of black belts.
Yeah.
At least they claim that anyway.
In Australia.
I think in the world. So I think that John Will guys, and it's called the Dirty Dozen, which is like the first 12 black belts that weren't Brazilian.
Right.
Yeah, and then I think there's a bit of controversy between those two of like who was the first black belt in Australia.
Yeah.
Not that it really matters, but
yeah. But anyway, that was my first gym, and still talk to a lot of the guys there. In fact, I might be seeing them later this week. In fact, so yeah, that'd be cool.
Did you move to the coast for training, or was it?
Yes.
Cool.
Yeah, so I came down here to train. At first, I started coming down to Brisbane to train at Gamebred. Then what would happen was I met Ryan Dunstan there. And I'd do this thing where I'd come down for a couple of days, train at Gamebred, and then on the way home, I'd drop in Caloundra, do a session with Dunstan, and then drive home afterwards. Over time, like I think one time I was coming down, but the people I usually stay with weren't available. They had someone else staying with them and that. And so I just messaged Dunstan saying, "Oh, sorry, man, I'm not coming down this time. There's no one for me to stay with." And that's when he invited me to come stay with him that time. And I found the training with him solely was a lot better for me. And, it was a little bit closer to home. So it just worked out a little better for me to just go down and train with him. And then I'd go down with him to Gamebred on the Tuesday. And it just worked out better that way.
Cool,
did you meet Ryan through Gamebred? Was he coaching down there as well at the time?
Yes, yeah. He still coaches the Tuesday afternoon session with the fighters and that. But that's where I met him. And funny enough, when I came down to like trial some of the different gyms in Brisbane, I just happened to go to Gamebred on the Tuesday afternoon. Of all the times I could have gone, and that's where I met him.
That's cool, right? And how far into fighting were you then?
I was at the time, I think 7-1-1 as an amateur by the time I'd come down.
All right, so you'd had a few fights, eh?
Yes, yeah.
And on a winning streak, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah, so after your first loss then, you went on a bit of a streak winning, yeah?
Yeah, so first fight was a loss, second fight ended in a draw. I'm not too sure how the judges came to that conclusion, but I'll take it. And after that, just ended up winning a whole bunch.
So what do you think it was after like losing your first fight? What do you think it was that made you go, oh, I want to do this? Were you pretty competitive when you were younger? Did you play other sports and that?
No, I just looked in the mirror and decided, you know what, I got that dog in me. Oh no, man! I think after the first two fights, I just eventually found my rhythm. Like I had a natural knack for grappling, just because of my physical strength and my sort of more laid back personality. So kind of those two went hand in hand to sort of develop a good sense of grappling.
What physical strength?
Yeah. You got me there. All right, yeah. But no, I just found that my grappling was really taking off and just allowed me to just pile on the wins against people. I guess less experienced grapplers, obviously. But yeah, and plus the amateur style of fighting, with 3-minute rounds and that, it means you can just sprint. So, man, I just went out spamming hands, and they'd have to cover up, and then I just duck in on the legs and get them.
Yeah, mad. And would you have learnt most of your grappling up in Bundaberg? The gym up in Bundy?
Yeah, man. I was very fortunate with that gym because the guy running it, Andrew Humphrey, he had this real focus on more of a wrestling style of jiu-jitsu.
Right.
He just liked it. He liked the sit-outs, he liked the switches, the double legs and everything. He loved that sort of stuff, and plus he was a decently strong guy himself, so he liked the big, strong moves and top control, heavy top control and things like that. And so it just passed on to me, and I took it. Just ended up being a really good base for MMA. For
sure, definitely is, and learning that stuff early on is going to be, rather than learning the jiu-jitsu kind of stuff, especially for fighting, be learning that first to be, setting good habits for yourself, wouldn't it? Yeah, for sure. So when you moved down to dance stands, how many fights amateur do you have?
Overall, I think 11. Yeah, 11 amateur fights.
Yeah. 11. I thought you had about 15 or 16 for some reason.
Oh, that was my overall win streak.
Right.
Type thing. So the 9 amateur wins plus the first 6 pro wins.
Yeah, true. Yeah. And you never played any other sports before fighting? Nothing? No rugby, no football, nothing?
Other than
you're a pretty competitive guy to train with. Obviously, you're really level-headed dude, but you're very competitive as well to train with, and obviously fighting as well. And
oh, bro, you should see the amount of times I'm trying to outpower walk these people while out shopping. They don't know they're in a competition, but man, I am winning. Yeah.
That's so funny.
But yeah. So, no, I didn't. I played sports with my friends and type of thing, in my teenage years and that, but I never got into anything competitive, no leagues or anything. I do remember trying netball one time.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. I can see you doing netball.
Yeah. I was doing all right. Then we lost the final, and I was like, you know what, netball sucks. I'm going elsewhere.
Who gave you a nickname? Did you give yourself the nickname or the Smiling Assassin?
Funny story with that, brother. I fought on Rain, and which I don't know what they were doing. Rain was with Eternal, it was everything the same, but it was a different promotion. I feel I don't know what they were aiming to do with that, whether Eternal's meant to be their Gold Coast promotion and Rain was going to be their Brisbane one.
Was it Cam's show?
Cam show, yeah.
Had he started Eternal at that time?
Yes, yeah. Eternal had already been established by this point, so I'm not too sure what he was aiming for or with it. I think Rain only ended up having 2 shows, maybe. Yeah, but I happened to fight on one, and I was the third fight on there. But the guy in the first fight, his nickname was the Smiling Assassin. But he didn't smile at all. And I'm a bit of a con artist here.
The salty assassin.
Yeah. So anyway, that was his nickname. But because I went out and fought, I'm freaking smiling ear to ear all the time. The crowd just started referring to me as the Smiling Assassin afterwards, when I was walking around for the rest of the night, and I'm just kind of stuck from there. So yeah,
I'll take it.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
I always think it's funny when people like make their own names. I'm like, I don't know if you can do that, Like I always ask people, like, did you come up with that or did someone else?
Well, prior to being labeled the Smiling Assassin, like I was trying to come up with my own name.
Do you have any failed ones? What do you have, Dave? What was the early one?
No, I think the problem is I couldn't stick with any of them. Like every time I'd be excited about trying to come up with a name. I'm like, oh, this would be cool. But then I'd pick one, and then the excitement would fade. I'm like, oh, well, now I've got to pick another one. And so I ended up, with Dangerous Dave, freaking The Relentless, and at one point it was going to be like, hey, Jack, because my last name was actually Russell.
Yeah.
Also, it ends up being like the dog,
Like a little Jack Russell.
because I got that dog in me. But I'm glad those didn't stick.
Did Dodgy Dave ever come in?
Oh, no, not till I met you, bro. But I was kind of pure of heart till I met you, and then things just went south real quick. I think the Welsh thing rubbed off on me.
Yeah, if you hang around John enough, you'll turn you to the dark side for sure.
The moment that turned me though was when he's walking out to one of his fights at Eternal, and he goes to walk down the wrong way. And he realizes he's done the wrong thing, and he just chucks a tantrum, like freaking heck. Like,
who was it that made the video of you? And
Was it you? No, was it you? Or was it Kyle?
I think it was Kyle G. Was it?
Yeah.
Man, we got to pull that up from the archives. That's
so
the
bad.
funniest video.
No.
Just as you're walking out, follow the girl in front of you. And instantly forgot, went the opposite way. What a dickhead. I remember actually feeling quite embarrassed as I'd gone the other way. I was like, you fucking dickhead, what are you doing?
Never made that mistake again.
Oh my God. Fucking hell. Yeah, we weren't trained together then, we?
No, that I only knew about that after we started training together, but that was before.
Because I remember seeing you, I think the first time I'd seen you fighting was, I think you were fighting Conor Birch, I think, on XFC when they added in the Logan Entertainment Centre. Sports Centre.
I think
it was Conor.
I can't remember if I was fighting Conor at the time or if I was fighting Talor at the second time. Both of them were in the Logan.
Right.
But one of those, we were on the same card together.
Right.
Because I remember you sending me a picture and it's got the two of us. I was like, oh, heck.
Yeah. I think I fought on two there as well.
Yeah.
But maybe it was one. Maybe I was watching one of them. I'm not sure. But that's mad. Fucking years ago. Was that about 10? Not 10 years ago. No, but 8 years ago. I was. Jesus Christ, getting old, Dave.
Oh, mate, I'm feeling it. Every time I freaking go to leave the house, I got to check for my keys, wallet, and phone.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to stare off into the distance and try to remember if there's anything else I've forgotten. More than likely, it's to say goodbye to my wife.
Yeah. Walking out of the house just in your slippers, no pants on.
Yeah.
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 Oh, that's mad, boy. I can't remember what I was going to say now. What were we talking about before that? It's gone.
Speaking of Alzheimer's.
So no, speaking about forgetting things, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
So you've been. So what year did you go professional?
When did I go? I struggled to remember the year exactly. Like after COVID, I stopped paying attention to the years. Type thing, and I think I've been professional for about 6.5 years now.
Yeah. And how many fights you had now?
Overall, just had my 30th.
Just had your 30th fight?
Yeah.
Is that including your amateurs, obviously?
Yes, yeah. So 11 amateurs and 19 pros.
Fuck, that's mad. That's
a lot of fights.
Yeah.
And do you think, the longer you've gone into your career, do you ever get nervous at all before fights? Is this something that has it got easier or harder as the longer you've gone on?
Each fight tends to be a bit different type thing. Depends on what kind of pressure I'm feeling in the moment and how I've been managing to deal with it up to then. The pressures of life itself can come and go. Like sometimes I'm a little bit more concerned about money type thing. Sometimes I don't really care.
Like don't care about the fight, or you like,
or don't care about like my financial situation. So it's not a factor weighing in. Like because all these little bits and pieces start to factor in and determine as to whether how I'm going to feel. But as for the actual fight, like I've learned to sort of register the nervous energy as excitement. Like anytime I feel nervous or scared or anything, that just tells me that I'm ready to go. Like every time I go to fight, there's always that feeling I've forgotten everything I've learned up to this point. Yeah. Every time, and I'm like, so I keep asking everyone, like, "Oh, what's a good game plan? What's a good game plan?" Friggin' harassing Doyle nonstop, like, hey, and then he'll make me do something completely different.
Yeah,
and I'm like, why would you do that?
Yeah.
Why would you stitch me up? This just makes me more nervous. And then, it starts this overthinking like cascade. And then I go out and fight and like it feels normal anyway.
It's funny, I like that thing of forgetting how to fight. Especially the week of the fight, you know, because you do so much less. Like I like to do very little the week of the fight, just go through things. But then I get to the fight day and I'm like, fuck, I haven't trained for 2 days. I've completely forgotten how to do this, you know. I'm going to go out and just shit the bed, but yeah, you just don't.
Muscle memory, you do it every day.
But I agree. I think like a little bit of nerves and a bit of fear it's really, for me especially. I'm really good when I feel a little bit of that. There's been times where I don't feel anything, and it's like, oh, this is a bit strange. But yeah, you just kind of. I remember you saying to me before about. I think I asked you something about nervous before fight, and you said it's the only time when you're really conscious about how you feel constantly all day, innit? Like every other day you'll just be going about your business and not really too consciously aware of your own feelings. But like on fight day, you're so conscious about how you're feeling and whether it's right or wrong. It's interesting, isn't it? It's an interesting fucking day when you're competing, like.
What does your schedule look like when you're in camp and when you're outside of camp and stuff like that?
For the most part, I try to keep them relatively similar. What changes within camp is just like, you know, the intensity type thing, and like sparring rounds get a bit more. They don't. I'm always competitive.
You're always under my line.
Always on, man. Until I nearly get knocked out mid sparring by you. Bro, gave me a concussion for 3 days.
Really? You didn't tell me about this?
Freaking posts up on Instagram like just helping Dave out. Yeah, thanks, boy. And I wonder he's always getting knockouts of the night. He's damaged me in the long run. That's target practice.
That's funny.
So you're pretty much same inside of camp, outside of camp?
Pretty much same in terms of like where I go, but as to like what I do and intensity wise, you know, for instance, with lifting weights, I'd focus a bit more on like strength side of things out of camp, whereas in camp it's more explosive.
Yep.
You know, out of camp conditioning is more aerobic focus type thing, whereas in camp is more anaerobic and building up that, you know, like the short sprints and dealing with lactic acid type thing. And as well as I'm a little sort of all over the place when it comes to the technical training and in and out of camp, but I tend to gear my sessions more toward helping other people or get ready for their fights when I'm out of camp. I try to still help where I can in camp, but it's very difficult. Like I only have so much energy in me. Like I've got the time, I feel, but I just don't have the energy because I'm just always like, if I've got spare energy, I end up finding something else to use it on toward my fight camp.
How beneficial would you say like cross training and stuff like that is? Because you seem to like dabble a bit everywhere, you know what I mean? Get the best of...
Well, man, you referred to me as a traitor just earlier talking about
triage.
This. Triage, yeah. And I was like... and I took that personal, my friend, right? But no, I believe cross training is essential, especially when it comes to mixed martial arts and like the landscape of, say, like even on the Sunshine Coast. Like for me, it's like you need to train with some really good people in various disciplines.
Yep.
But it seems like every gym has like maybe 2 to 3 good people, or it's like really top ones. So, and everyone's got their own schedules and everything, so you can't meet the same people each time. So you might go to one gym and like say the 5 best guys, they're all away. They're sick, they're injured, they're on holidays, they got work type thing. So going to just one place, you're going to just run into that all the time. So I tend to view training at different places like a seasonal thing, and it's going to like sometimes like these guys will be preparing for their fights. So if you go along, you get to train alongside them while they're preparing for their fight. And then you can go elsewhere, like I can do like jiu-jitsu at a different place.
Yeah.
Type of thing. Maybe they're getting ready for ADCC trials and that, like, and so you can jump in on that. Whereas maybe some of these other guys are just going through, I don't know, learning basic sweeps, so I might go along to that just to sort of get my mind back on the fundamentals. Like, there's all sorts of ways you can look at it, but I just believe that cross-training itself is an essential part.
For sure. I think all the best people do it as well. Like I look at John, like he goes to, all the best places for each single discipline, even strength conditioning, whatever it is, and then getting the best of everything.
Yeah, and the thing about like getting the best at everything is like, how do you quantify what is the best without trying it?
Yep.
Like if you send me to an ice cream place, I mean, I'd love it if you did that and gave me a voucher and let me like just get whatever I want type thing. But look at all these new fancy flavors that they're able to come up with, and you ask me, hey, tell me which ones are the best here, but you're not allowed to try them. What am I going to do with that? Like,
Dave wants to try all of them.
yes. But then,
just get a little sample of everyone.
Yeah. Like, so going along with that, but if we get into that, then I'll start overthinking, and then I'll be like, okay, this one tastes good, this one tastes better, but does this one taste better because I had this one first? The type thing is there still like a lingering after taste of that's affecting the taste of this one, and
right.
And I start like I get really into the weeds of it, and it's useless overall. Like, this one's just better.
Sounds like we'll go for ice cream after this.
Yeah. Right. I'm all on board with this.
Johnny's keen.
100% approved.
Do you is there anything you'd wish you'd done different in your career, like earlier on, like something you've changed now? Like, did you cross train earlier? Was it?
Well, aside from the philosophical approach, like, no, I wouldn't have changed anything because I like how things have worked out. Yeah. Aside from that nonsense, because there's no way to tell. Yes. Yeah. One thing I would have changed, I would have cross-trained as early as possible. I would have also started like lifting weights as early as possible as well. Same. That was something I did not do till I was about, I think, 27 type thing. And just the difference it made for me, like in regards to injuries alone, like it just seemed to bulletproof my body that much better type thing. And so I would have started lifting weights. I would have started looking for at the scientific sort of approach to like conditioning and type thing, because I just had that sort of old school mentality of like, oh, if you can find something that's hard and you make it harder, you'll be that much fitter. Type thing. I'd be the kind of guy like shadow boxing with massive dumbbells, just because like, well, if using small dumbbells helps, well, the bigger ones are going to help. And things like that, as well as I would have really sort of looked into the benefits of periodization with your training and managing your training load. Like, that's something I'm only just starting to really get into, and that's realizing hey, like, there's only a certain amount of training you can do up to a point that's effective. And as an MMA fighter in particular, because you have so many different demands, like so many different things across the board, skill-wise, you're wrestling, wall wrestling, jiu-jitsu, striking, etc. And you've got like strength training, and you've got conditioning, and I mean, if you do like yoga and stretching and everything like that, you've got so many things like crying out for your time and effort, and you try to do them all. Well, but then it's like, well, you might as well do none of them then, because you are just putting yourself further behind, and having to develop a system where you like focus on what's important and cut out the rest, but also have a, like, an intuitive understanding of what's important at every given moment. Like, strength training is pretty important at some point, but at a certain other time, it's not going to be as important. It's going to drop off. Like, your return of investment of how much time you're putting into it is going to backfire. But how do you know that? You have to almost develop a sense for it. And that's something that takes time, and it's something that you're never going to get fully right. But you do want to, like, improve on it and get sort of closer to that ballpark area.
I think that's like something that you learn just by messing up and doing too much, really, isn't it? Or having a professional that says, no, you're going to do too much here. I think, yeah, like you said, just the trial and error of lifting, like, weight's a big one. If you push it too much in the weight room, doing squats or whatever, or just pushing hard and you wreck your legs, like, you're going to miss out 10, 20% on your sparring session the next day or that night then, and it's a detriment in that respect.
Yeah. Well, like, going back to me being, like, a competitive guy, that was one thing I really struggled with, the strength and the weight side of things, is I got addicted to the numbers. Because one thing I loved about strength training was it was always quantifiable. You can go and spar regularly every week, but it's hard to tell because it depends on how you're feeling, how you're moving and everything, how your partners are moving, feeling. Like, it's very hard to quantify week to week whether you're improving or not.
Especially when they're improving as well.
Yeah. Or on the decline.
Yeah. You're not actually getting better, they're just getting worse.
There's nothing's worse than them just, like, sort of showing up half-hearted, and then you think, like, oh, maybe I'm not that good then. If you're going terrible.
They're like, I'm hungover.
Yeah. Like, you're having a terrible time and I'm only just beating you. And I'm like, this reflects poorly on me. But no, with the weights and the strength training, like, because you're given numbers, like, you got reps, you got sets, you got actual weight numbers type thing. It's all quantifiable, and I sort of became addicted to that. And I was like, I can tell whether I'm getting better or when I'm not, type thing. And I started doing too much of it. And at first, like, when I first started lifting weights, like, I was doing a lot, and my wrestling was, like, shooting through because I was, like, getting that much stronger. And I was like, this is awesome.
Newbie gains.
Yeah. Like, freaking, I stacked on, like, 2.5 kilos of muscle, or just from starting with the weights, within, like, a couple months. And then, like, 2 years later, I haven't gained anything.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what happened?
Diminishing returns.
Yeah. But the trouble I was having then was, like, at first my wrestling really picked up because of the additional strength. But then the focus on the weights was starting to detract from actual time wrestling. I was spending too much time sore or tired in that, and I wasn't wrestling as much. And because I wasn't wrestling as much, my skill was going down, even though my strength was going up. And all of a sudden, things were getting harder, despite being stronger. So, that's, again, that focus of importance. My initial focus on strength training and bringing weights into the program shot my wrestling through the roof. But my continual focus on it caused my wrestling to drop off. And the emotional side of things, of, like, my wrestling failing, and that was causing me to then even wrestle even less, because I didn't like how I was feeling.
Yeah.
As a result of it, so I was doing it less and less, which was further increasing my decline in it.
Yeah. So whenever you pick up a new skill, it's going to take away from another one.
Yeah, it can start to take away. Well, at first, it helped my wrestling. At first, it improved it because of the additional strength. And I just thought, like, oh, this is how it's going to continue.
Yeah.
The stronger I get, the better at wrestling I'm going to get. But no. Yeah. I was lied to.
But still, if the new strong Dave rolled the old Dave who didn't lift, it would be, it'd be a whitewash, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, there's no doubt about that. Speaking of whitewash, like, I'm gonna have to put on like a fake tan, and if I'm gonna reverse my old self, just so people can see the contrast, like night and day. Like I know that's a silly insert, guys, but like, I only just thought of it because you brought up us fighting at the Logan in place, but yeah, I remember the lighting they had on that, and I was like, God damn, I'm so white.
You're like melting.
You are pretty white.
Yeah.
You have a famous trucker's tan as well, don't you? Just the sleeves.
Yeah. One time I saw, like, because I used to come out in like a sleeveless hoodie.
Yeah.
And I'm like, at that time I'd started like just going for runs. So my arms got slightly more tanned, and it was so like different that it looks like I'm wearing a shirt underneath. I was like, holy heck.
Just a white t-shirt.
Yeah. And I'm like, circling back to the whole, like, choosing your own nicknames, like one of the ones I was going to choose was Flashbang. because of how bright I ended up looking under some of the lighting settings.
I reckon we should go with Flashbang.
Yeah.
This way your opponent has to wear sunglasses at the weigh-in.
Yeah.
You're getting raver.
See, it's all coming together, guys.
Hey, I only have a tan when I'm in good shape. But if I was as ripped as you, David, I'd have my shirt off all the time.
Yeah.
And getting a tan makes you look more ripped as well. So if you got tanned, you'd look even more ripped, which is pretty crazy. That's why, like, bodybuilders and stuff, they put the tan on, right? So they look more defined and things like that.
I would say about a week out from a fight, he looks like a shaved albino chimp.
Yeah.
Shredded. So just thinking, so you started lifting around 27.
Yep.
Obviously, coming off your fight last week, there's been a bit of controversy with weight miss and stuff. Do you think it had anything to do with it, like putting extra weight on from lifting? Do you think that's like causing any issues with like weight and stuff? And by the way, I think you've handled it really well. Because like, look, missing weight it's never a good thing. But I think like as how you've handled it really well. Because like some people, they win and they jump on a cage and they celebrate and as if, but like you apologize and you genuinely remorseful for like missing and stuff. But I was just wondering, do you think it had anything to do with like putting extra weight on? Has that caused any issues for me?
Look, the extra weight definitely, like, it does lead to bigger cuts, but I found that ever since that I added those extra like kilos of muscle, like the actual, like the last bit of the cut has been a lot easier. Mm-hmm. Like I can cut more weight far easier than what I used to. Mm-hmm. Simply because of the extra muscle comes with extra water. Yes. To cut type thing. So it seemed like I could cut more weight, but still feel a lot better than what I used to, if you get what I mean. But of course, the trouble where I'm having though isn't my overall size, but rather the way I deplete my body coming into.
Like the weeks leading up.
Yeah, the weeks leading up. That's where I really stuffed up. So like when I was meant to have the fight over in Perth and I fell over, so when I got taken out, I really should have just taken time off. But me being competitive, feeling bad about the whole thing, wanting to fight, like I tried to get on the next card if there was an opportunity for me. And I was like, yeah. But another 4 weeks of trying to continue dieting, that like my metabolism was already through the floor. And so my body was just no longer responding. And I'm not able to... I can't really do subsequent weight cuts like that.
Yeah, I don't think people realize how hard it is without even jumping in the sauna, just dropping your carbohydrates and affecting your salt and everything for that fight week. It really does affect your body quite a lot. To then do that, then have 2 weeks, was it 2 or 3 weeks in between?
Yes.
And then doing it straight away again. That is going to have like a pretty big impact on you as well,
Yeah, so what happened this time was my body just shut down. I was able to reach the same sort of numbers that I wanted type thing, but clearly my body was more depleted at those numbers than it was previously, which obviously led to trouble. whereas, I look at my journal, I look at all the numbers, I'm like, it's still all lining up. I've made weight from these numbers previously. Why was it a problem now? And it's like, clearly I was far more depleted. Mm-hmm. But I've been in fight camp for most of this year. I had the lead into the Kappa fight. Pretty much had to turn around right away for a championship fight camp. Straight away. Like, what was there? About 8 to 10 week gap. Friggin' fell over in Perth. Immediately tried to get a fight 4 weeks after that, so I've extended it even further. And all of a sudden, you got like a period of like about 24 weeks that I spent in fight camp, straight.
It's a lot, eh?
Yeah. Like, it'd be fine, and if my training and my dieting and everything was just regular, but because it's so the training gets more intense and my diet is so low during that period, it's just continuous grind on my body. Mm-hmm. And it's no surprise that it eventually it refused to play ball with me.
Mm. Where are you going to go from here now after the Dali fight now? Is that something you're going to go up in weight class? Are you going to just have some time off? Are you just having some time to think?
Yeah, I do need some time to think. I'm speaking to the different people that I work with and sort of getting their opinion where they think I should go, type thing. For now, I need to take some time and sort of regulate my body a bit, because to me, either career move is going to take some work. I need to work on my out of camp habits and things like that if I want to remain at lightweight, but I have to then sort of build my body up a bit more if I want to go up to welterweight, because 7 kilos is a pretty substantial.
Oh, you got some big welterweights.
Yeah.
Like Kyle is a welterweight and he's a big man,
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so either one is going to require a degree of work.
I think you're a perfect example for an in-betweener, aren't you? Like a 165-pound weight class. I think you'd be perfect for it.
Yeah. If they decided to make super light, what they could do was, make a super lightweight division and bump welterweight up by 5 pounds, and so that you got 10 pounds going up until middleweight. But I don't see them doing that. I'm not seeing enough of a push for it at the moment, and so welterweight, lightweight creates this sort of weird dynamic where it's like I'm getting to the point where lightweight is a hard target to hit, not impossible, but hard.
Yeah, and not so much the hard thing. I think having a couple of misses as well. I think you're just playing with fire with because you obviously you can do it, but then if something's happening where whatever it is causing trouble for you, and if it's that difficult for you, how hard it is, that's just bad for your health as well, isn't it? So it's whether it's hard, you just got to look at your health is more important than anything, really. And without your health, you can't be doing any of it. So that's most important.
Yeah, well, the big thing is obviously everything needs to go right. Mm-hmm. Type thing. If it end up in a situation like I was in Adelaide where I got an ear infection and I didn't know about it, can't do it.
Yeah, you're fucked up.
Now, in fairness, the ear infection I probably couldn't afford anyway. I couldn't stand up. But that's what I mean. If I come into the fight week and I get sick for whatever reason, even just a mild cold is going to make it that much difficult. Whereas if I was fighting up at welterweight, I guess even a mild cold isn't going to prevent me from making the weight type thing.
Yeah, that's so true. And not even the week of the fight. If you got sick, if you have to have everything go right for 6 to 8 weeks of dieting, training a certain amount to be in a certain deficit for it to bring your weight down.
Yeah,
you have one or two. The flu was going around the last couple of months too. If that comes in, then it's knocked your training. That's just it's a compound effect. Eventually, lead into having a massive cut. Then what's already a big cut in it. So you being upper weight class will give you that more wiggle room, which ultimately you just want to be at your healthiest, don't you? Your healthiest going in there because you're doing a pretty dangerous sport. why make it any more dangerous than it has to be? Yeah, I think so. So you're saying you're just gonna have a bit of time now, just like recoup and have a think about like what you're gonna do, where you're gonna go. How do you think you'll have with the time off and that? Like not having that fight, like a fight directly in the pipeline, because it does, like like we spoke about it a little bit before this. I used to find it hard, like you'd have a fight and all you can think about is the fight, and you're plugging on to this, and then you have a win or loss or whatever. After the fight, then you're a little bit lost with what you want to do, what direction you want to go. You just feel like you're a bag floating in the wind a little bit. And you get a fight, and you've just got this purpose that you're driving towards then again, you know?
Yeah, man, I'll be honest. The idea of not having a fight terrifies me.
Yeah.
And to the point that now I'm like, I don't know what the heck I'm going to do when I have to retire. Like, I can't imagine not having something that you're working toward. And fights that just feel natural to me. Like, I spend most of my life in fight camp now, and it's almost become a comfort blanket for me, to the point that I don't want to be without one. So, like, I should take some time off. If someone comes knocking with an opportunity, it's going to be hard for me to say no, because I just want that target in front of me. I just want that, that thing that I'm working toward. Otherwise, everything starts to feel like, what's the point? Like, what am I doing this for? Like, why am I going to training? Like, why would I do any form of like endurance training, or why am I doing strength training, type thing? Like, because I don't have that target type of thing. Or I can try and come up with another one, but if it doesn't have that same sort of deadline effect of like, this is the date it's happening, this is when it goes down, it doesn't have the same pull or the same amount of importance for me.
I can see where you're coming from there, and I think that is something that fighters have a lot of when they come to the end of their career. Like they retire and they're like, "Fuck, now what am I doing with myself?" So I might be speaking out of school here, but like people coming out of the army having. It's very different, I understand, but it's like people coming out of the army and they've lost that like purpose or whatever, they have a similar thing. Obviously, there's a lot more like extra things to take into account there, but like I think it's a very normal thing. But I think like whether you are like when I had injury with my shoulder, it was like 6 months, no training, no nothing. I was like, fuck, this is wild. But I still had a goal then of 6 months. I got to work towards this to be healthy to go back to it. So now sitting where you're like, not setting yourself a date. I think it might be just handy for you to try and focus on loving the process of training and enjoying lifting for what it is without having that goal, which should be difficult.
Yes, yeah. I do agree with that, man. Like, I think you do have to get to a point where you're doing it for the love of it. Like, you do it because you enjoy doing it. I think that's far more important. Like, at the moment, I'm in that sort of mindset. I do these things as a means to an end. And, like, this serves this purpose. Like, I do all these different types of training and train with all these different types of people because I'm eventually going to fight. And I want to put myself in the best position. And, to increase my odds of success going into that. But that works great in the short term, but that's not really like good for your mental health in the long run in a sport where you can't really continue it indefinitely, into your 30s and 40s. Is type thing, eventually you have to stop. It's not like one of those jobs that you can work till you're 60,
no,
and retire.
Unless you're Mike Tyson.
Yeah.
But no, I think it's kind of cool now where you can go like, oh, I'm actually just gonna like focus on getting better now. That's gonna be like the positive out of it, rather than have the goal to work towards. Now you can go. You might turn into a guard player now.
Let's not go that far.
Leg lock.
Oh no.
Are you coaching a bit now as well down at what's the gym called?
Sim City.
Yeah,
man. So I do an MMA class every Tuesday.
Cool.
Friggin' 5:30 p.m. Come along.
Yeah, so
bring your friends. But yeah, no, I actually really enjoy the coaching side of things. At first, I was a bit like, I don't know, I don't like telling people what to do. But now I'm just sort of running with it, just cracking jokes and making fun of people's technique, and like, you know, I'm having a ball with it. I enjoy that side of things now. But like, just circling back a bit earlier, like, look, the weight miss was a disgrace. Like, it was unprofessional, and like, it's a mark on my career that I'm gonna have to carry it with me and remind myself, you know, to do better. But heaven forbid I ever become a guard player, bro. Like, why? I mean, like I'm only just a week removed from like the most shameful moment of my career, and you go and even suggest that I would become a leg locker or a guard puller. Like, get out of here. But no, back to the coaching, guys. Like, friggin', I enjoy it. I love sort of like, and for me, it was really hard at the start because it's like, I know all this stuff. I'm good at this stuff, but I don't know why. I don't know the finer points. I can't teach it to someone. It's like, I can do this takedown, but like, I don't know why. I just saw it and I tried it out in sparring and it worked, and I've used it over and over and it just clicked type thing. I don't know how to get someone who doesn't know how to move in that way to get them to move. And so I've tried experimenting with different things, like making different analogies and just trying to get focusing on different little points in how the body's moving, how the weight's shifting and everything, and to try and get them to be like, okay, move like this. Like, oh, this part has to be done explosively, but no, you have to be more like sort of stern with this. And trying, as well as experimenting with different like words, because everyone seems to respond differently. And when I say to like, oh, you got to pull hard here, some people will do that, and other people will be like, oh, I'm not too sure. Like, they don't know how to translate those words into the actions that I want them to do, and so I have to try use different words, or different demonstrations type thing, or focusing on different points to try and get a similar result. And everyone seems to be a bit different in how they learn.
For sure.
And so it's like, you also have to mess around with that. And I enjoy that process as well. Like, that's a fun thing for me. It's a fun challenge. And, you know, trying to figure out, okay, I know this stuff, but how do I present it in a way that other people can learn it?
Have you ever taught kids?
Yeah, I've tried that. I don't know. They seem more keen to punch my head off. If I'm honest, like,
I feel like you're too nice. They just walk all over you.
they climb all over me. Freaking, like, one of them will jump on my back, try and choke me, like literally, and the others will like, oh, hold his legs, and then one will come freaking shoulder bump me and like, you know, try and tackle a giant type. And I'm like, this seems like assault. Like, what's going on here? Like, how's this allowed?
How many do you reckon you could take? Like, how many preschoolers could you take out? All of them?
All of them.
20?
20.
Still get tired, or?
Well, put it this way, like,
So he gets tired.
yeah,
David, don't get tired.
you can give me only a certain number can get to me at once.
True.
Like, once you reach a certain number, and I believe I can handle that number.
He's thought about this before.
Yeah. I've had many dreams and thought experiments on this kind of thing. Yeah, so like, listen here, there's only a certain number, like, because of freaking, you know, the distance and that. There's only a certain number that can get to me at one time. So you can put me against 20, 30, 40, 50, doesn't matter. They can't all get to me at once, so their numbers don't matter. And it all comes down to how I deal with the first few. Because how I deal with that will put the fear of God in the remaining. And they will not mess with me from that point onward.
What would you rather fight? A Johnny says Jordy or a Jordy says Johnny?
Wait, what?
So would you rather fight me,
Yeah.
the size of John, or John,
Yeah.
the size of me?
Oh,
We're pretty close in
snap.
size now.
Full fight.
Yeah, that's an interesting one. I'm going to go with Jordy because like
Jordy says John.
yeah. Wait.
Yeah.
Actually, that's confusing me.
I think so. I think if John was my size,
Yeah.
he would fuck me up if I was his size.
Yeah. I think that's the safer
Maybe.
route.
There's only one way to find out. He's going to cut some weight and I'm going to
Well, hang on.
Johnny after a weigh-in, he would be lighter than me. For 10 minutes. I'm 86.
Oh, yeah.
So what are you weighing at? 84.
84, yeah.
Well, we can test it out.
Yeah.
Oh, you definitely beat me up there.
Just blow you over.
When Sean was having the thing with the HT boys, I was like, oh, fuck, I hope this doesn't kick off. I don't know if I can have a fight right now.
Bro, I was literally like, it happened right in front of me. I'm like, just don't get me involved, fellas.
Just sitting
And
there.
then they just grappled. And then they just grappled the whole fight. This always happens, man.
Oh, mate, that is the way grudge matches go. Like, prime example, Rashad Evans and Rampage Jackson, like, freaking mouthing off and hating each other and just grapple fest.
Yeah.
And not even, like, technically good grappling. Like, it's stuff
Angry
that you and
grappling.
I can admire. It's just freaking holding on for dear life. Like, I hope I get this win because I've said all this thing and I don't want to lose.
Yeah.
Apparently, Rashad has got a massive dick.
That doesn't surprise
So
me.
I've been told. I thought you might want to know, Dave, you know?
The type of facts that bounce around your head is just confounding, my friend.
I think we'll knock it there. But are you keen to jump in the ice bath?
Oh, heck yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it.
It's 1 degree, mind.
What?
Yeah,
How do you get it that low?
Oh, I don't know. There's a little chiller on the side of it.
Yeah.
But I just picked up I don't know. Did you see it? Yeah, I think I messaged you about it. Picked up a little ice bath yesterday. Aussie chill out tabs there. And then it it goes down to 1 degree.
Yeah.
You do it warmer, but I probably won't use that unless it's the.
Hang on. Are they sponsoring this podcast?
Huh?
Are they sponsoring? Yeah.
They should.
Yeah, should do, yeah.
I was going to say, like, don't plug them for free.
Oh, I love it. Like, I'm going to try and nut them out every day. Because I used to go to, like, recovery centre and stuff. But, like, yeah, it just costs a fair bit. And, like, you only end up doing it 2 or 3 times. But now it's at the house. I'm just going to try and do them every day and see if there's any benefits from it.
Yeah.
And, like, you feel good after them anyway. Jordy doesn't like the cold because he's ginger.
Yeah. That's it. Every time I do them, I just get sick.
No, you do not.
I do. Every
shit.
time I go to the recovery center, I get like an ear infection or I get the cold.
Ah, shut up, boy.
I don't mind the sauna, but not the cold. And plus, it kills your gains.
You're going to jump into there, are you?
I'm not jumping in.
Why?
I just train legs.
When?
Literally
2 hours ago.
No, it was about now. Oh yeah, 2 hours maybe.
They say that it does after 2 hours. It doesn't have any diminishing returns on your gains.
That's not what I heard.
You need a pair of legs to be able to train legs anyway.
Get out of here.
They grow in. Look at
Yeah.
them. They grow in.
Rough.
Nah, happy days, boys. We'll
Cheers,
call it
Davo.
there.
Thanks for
Cheers,
coming on, man.
Thanks for having me
Legend.
on, guys. Freaking awesome.
Legend.